beautiful beaders, it's Gina from orchidandopal.com, and I'm excited to be back with some more finished pieces to share with you guys. I know I get a lot of boxes, and one of my favorite things to do is come back and share some of the finished pieces that I've made from the contents of some of those boxes. I think it's always fun to see what all of us are up to, especially when we get some of the same boxes and materials. It's amazing how creative we can all get and come up with some totally different things and all inspire each other. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing pieces all inspired from the November 2019 bargain bead box. You can see the video for that. I will link in the corner in case you missed it. The theme of that was coffee shop, and I don't know about you, but I found this particular month's collection to be a bit of a challenge. What you're looking at here in my hands is all that remains of that collection. Everything else has been used up and incorporated into the finished pieces I'm going to be sharing with you. And what I will share does also contain a few items here and there from my own personal stash, which is what you guys would be doing as well. However, I'd estimate about 90% of the contents did come right from the bargain bead box. Before we get started with today's video, I am excited to announce that this video has been sponsored by Skillshare. If you've never heard of Skillshare, it's an online learning community with thousands and thousands of classes covering so many different topics, including things centered around creativity and owning a small business. I'm constantly blown away when I type in something in the search bar and multiple classes come up. They usually have just what I'm looking for. I'm particularly enjoying learning more about aspects of photography at the moment, so they have a huge array of classes covering that topic, including this one here called DIY Backdrops, Dynamic Surfaces for Tabletop Photography. Gives you a lot of tips and pointers for taking those eye-catching photographs that really get people to stop and take notice. So that would be a great one I would recommend, especially if you are looking to take pictures of the jewelry that you've made and would like to improve your skills. Because Skillshare is generously sponsoring today's video, they are offering everybody here 2 months free to enjoy Skillshare's premium membership, which gives you unlimited access to all of their classes and communities. You can attend classes online at your own pace and find things related to your small craft business or in many other aspects of your life. Beyond the free 2-month trial, the annual subscription is less than $10 a month. I will leave the link right below this video that you can use to check out Skillshare for yourself and try completely free for 2 whole months. So go check out Skillshare and see all the different ways that they can help you improve your business, your creativity, and even your career. Alright, so for this theme, why don't we start out by looking at some of the most coffee-esque things that came from that box. They had actually sent some pretty challenging components. I mean, some of which were these caffeine molecules that you can see right here. I decided to wire wrap one of mine in, we'll call them Starbucks colors, kind of the green, brown, and black here, just to make it stand out a little bit more. I also included one of those coffee cup charms here at the bottom and one of the green rondelles that came in the box that I have also used a little bit up through this necklace. I want to say they incorporated 5 of these molecule components, and I did end up using all 5 in different ways, so you'll see actually 2 more of these in this necklace right away. What I did was I actually snipped off the portions that were sticking out and only kept the center portion. I actually ended up turning these into connectors. I did file down the edges just a little bit where I clipped them with my cutters because they were a little bit sharp at first, but now they're quite smooth. And they did work pretty well as connectors, if I do say so myself. I also incorporated some of the rondelles that match this one I have hanging down at the bottom here, up throughout the necklace, and then I included one also hanging off of the extender chain and the lobster clasp area. So that is the first necklace that I made. These molecules, man, not quite easy unless you're planning to do what I did next, which I've been seeing on Pinterest a little bit, so they must be trendy. I made a plain Jane, probably the plainest thing you've ever seen me share on my channel, molecule necklace. And I'm going to try to insert a picture right here so you can see what I'm talking about. They have these on various sites that you can purchase and they look exactly the same. So look at the price, by the way, and how much did you pay for the entire bargain bead box? So yeah, I think that's kind of funny, and we ended up getting 5 molecules also. But sometimes simple is best, and that's what I did. I just attached the molecule pendant to the chain that was included in the box, and I included one of these charms, which they called coffee bean charms, along the back at the clasp and the extender portion. So I know that was real exciting. The next piece is something I actually haven't shared before on my channel, and that's a purse charm. And that's because I've actually never made a purse charm. I don't personally use them myself, so I just haven't really found a need to make them, but this was the time because they just included so many of these different components that seem to scream gift to me. And also, particularly with these mugs, they included 2 mugs, and my only thoughts were, yeah, I could turn them into earrings with the mugs, 1 on each earring. I could incorporate a mug and a pendant necklace somehow, but I wanted to do something a little bit different than that, so that's why I went with purse charm. I think if you have a coffee lover in your life, somebody that would like something like this, you could put something like this together with all the components that were included in the bargain bead box, minus these little tassels and this larger clasp that I had. But I included the brown imitation jade beads, the green rondelles, you can see another molecule here, the second coffee cup charm, these other charms, and then of course one of the mugs here. So those were the 3 pieces that I made that were most themed, we'll say, from the box. And now I have a few more classic pieces to share. So here's the next necklace that I have to share with you. This is an asymmetrical design. I pulled one of these leaf pendants from my stash. This actually did come from beadboxbargains.com, which is their sister site, so I thought it was pretty appropriate to include that and show you how I brought that in asymmetrically in this simple strung necklace with what they were calling the iced mocha agate beads. These were something very similar to what I had received last month, and I found them a little bit of a challenge for me last month because I'm just not drawn to these very earthy colors and stones as much, but sometimes that's what's nice, is that these boxes will push you out of that comfort zone. And I thought they looked great with these white rounds that I had. I also incorporated some of that imitation dark brown glass and set off all these pieces with some silver spacers, used some of the bead caps from the box also. And I want to say these white beads are actually shell, and they came from Beadbox Bargains also from a purchase I made nearly a year ago. So a lot going on from the box and their sister site as well. Let me show you the look at the entire piece so you can get a better idea of how I put this together. You might recall they also included one of these very large hook and eye type clasps, and I added some large jump rings to this side just to give some more options as far as where this could hook on. And here is a more full look at that necklace. I did have some of those agate beads left over, as well as some of the white shell beads, so I decided to make also a matching bracelet. Now, I recently shared a tutorial on how I created a bracelet just like this. You see this portion right here is actually wire wrapped, and the bottom portion where you see the brown is actually elastic cord. So I will try to link that tutorial as well if you're interested in doing one of those half and half style bracelets. And then of course I included one of the charms just to add a little accent onto the bracelet. What's cool about this one is you can wear it with more of the white side showing, you can wear it more with the brown side showing, and it also looks kind of cool when you have it in the middle and you're seeing both colors also. So I actually love how this set came together. Like I said, it was more of a challenge just because these beads, period, are more of a challenge for me personally. Not to mention all the coffee related products that we received were just different, you know, just made you think a little bit. Next up is this pendant necklace that I made. I did pull this pendant from my stash. I've had this one for about a year, and it seemed like the perfect time to pull it out and use it. I'd gotten it from eBay, and I can't for the life of me remember what this was called. I believe some type of jasper though. It is stone. And this is where I pulled in some of those green line jasper faceted rounds that were included in this month's box. I also brought out some smaller, brighter green beads from my personal stash because I felt like it balanced the colors a little bit better that were going on in this pendant. And then I broke up some of these gemstone beads with some faceted crystals that I had. I did use the bead caps that came from the box. There are also some spacer beads from my stash, and then I did a little wire wrapped bail on my own on this pendant. There's a look at the back of that. And this is also the second hook and eye clasp that they had included in the box this month. So here is a full look at this particular necklace. Really happy I was able to pull this pendant out and use it, but I think even just the single strand necklace is a pretty combo with the brighter green and the more dull or more sage green that was in that jasper that was included this month. Alright, so next, you guys know I had to incorporate some bead weaving. I ended up beading around that beautiful pendant that came in the box this month. Just a basic beaded bezel. I did use the right angle weave technique around the side, which was a little bit different, and I could have done some more fancier embellishing of the bail, but I kept it pretty simple. I liked using the different colors on the frame around the stone to really bring out the black and white, and a little bit of tan going on in there too. Here's a little look at the back, even though that won't really be seen when it's worn. And then this is where I incorporated those polished agate beads, those black and brown and tan beads with a little bit of white, and I used the remaining dark brown glass jade style beads in here also, as you can see. So I knew right away when I had gotten this pendant that I did want to use this in a necklace with these polished dark agate beads because I loved how they looked together. I just wanted to do something a little bit fancier and a little bit more special by creating that custom beaded bezel around it. So here's a full look at this necklace. You can see that I just did a basic stringing around the strand here, and I incorporated some of the same seed beads that I used in the beaded bezel as little spacers in between some of these beads, and then I also used some brass round spacers from my stash. And then there you can see there's another one of those little charms here included on the back of the extender chain. I find that's a great way to use some of these charms, which they always seem to include in the bargain bead box. And if I'm not really sure what to do with them or don't have something else planned, I usually will pop these on the back of the extender just to give it a little bit more detail. This is the last necklace that I created from the box contents this month. You can see there's some more bead weaving going on here. This is a Russian spiral technique, and I used the white bicones and those black spinel gemstone beads, those little 3mm ones that were included. You can see that this is a little bit bumpy, but that's actually what I was going for. I was going for the texture, so you can see these 4mm bicones actually are sticking out a little bit, and that's because I incorporated these with 3mm beads. If my beads were all the same size, this would be a smoother rope like you normally see with the Russian spiral. But like I said, I wanted the white to really contrast against the black, and in this case I like the little bit of extra texture that this gives to the front of the necklace. Then what I did is I attached this woven portion to some beading wire and continued with a beaded strand up around the rest of the neck. I used the rest of the polished dark agate beads that they sent. I used quite a few more of the white bicones, and then I actually grouped together these little spacers that they sent in groups of 3 and gave them a much wider effect, as you can see going up the rest of the necklace to kind of space out the other beads. And here's a look at the full finished necklace design here. I always love a good black and white combination. I've said that before, so it was a great way to pull those items together, I think, and do something much different than just stringing a strand of beads. Now, besides those, I did have a few more beads left over. These I didn't make last because they used these faceted amber colored drops. So I did make these right away. Now the only thing is I didn't have any more gold ball head pins, so that was a bummer. I ended up having to make these with the regular flat bottom head pins, and I would have loved to have the gold ball because they would have really finished these off so much better. But I decided to go with it anyway, just to give you guys an idea of what that would look like. The reason I was inspired to do these cluster style earrings was because the hole on mine at the top, if you remember from my unboxings, was just a little bit rough. So I wanted to come up with a way to hide the top of these beads, but also use them in an elegant way. These little crystals did come from my own stash. You could also use the black spinel beads from the box this month, or some of the white bicones, just to give you an idea. And I just included a small segment of chain hanging off each of these ear wires, and then attached each of these crystals one by one, just clustered them as closely as I could on the earrings to give them that big impact. So that's one way you can hide the tops of those 2 drops. If yours were a little bit rough, you could of course wire wrap them, and that would work too. The other 2 pair of earrings I made, because I had a few things left over, I had a few more of those small agate beads. I used some more of those spacers clustered up together, and then a few of those white bicones, and attached them to some of these decorative earring findings or connectors. So it was just a way to use up some more of these beads that I had left, as well as these 2 where I literally used the rest of the chain that was included in the box. Some more of those green rondelles, 2 more of those charms hanging down at the bottom, and just incorporated the beads on a piece of wire and wire wrapped them onto the chain to make these simple and sparkly earrings. So that is everything I have for you guys today, made from the November 2019 bargain bead box. I hope it was helpful for you, entertaining, maybe inspired you to come up with something else based on what you've seen here today, especially if you were stumped and were having a hard time trying to figure out what to do with that collection, because I could understand it was definitely a trickier collection in my opinion to work with. However, it was a fun challenge, I thought. Feel free to let me know down below if there's a favorite piece here that you saw today, if it helped inspire you in some way, or other than that, let me know what you've been up to, especially if you also received the bargain bead box and have been playing with it. I want to give a shout out to all the creative followers that I have on Facebook that shared pictures of what they made on a post that I shared a week or two ago. So much creativity here in this group. You guys are awesome. And I always love to see the collaboration and ideas going on there based on the contents. So thank you for sharing there, and also thank you for watching, of course. And one final thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Check for the link below the video to try them out absolutely free for 2 months. I wouldn't personally partner with Skillshare unless I was personally happy with their product. And their partnership, of course, helps me to bring you much more content and creativity on a regular basis. So until next time, I hope you guys stay tuned for much, much more to come. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and as always, happy beading. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. For more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of my latest videos. You can check out the information section below this video for links to all my social media handles, recommended products, and my shop and blog at orchidandopal.com. Thanks for watching.